Okay, Saw. What do you want to say about Saw?
What do I want to say about Saw?
Yeah.
What I want to say about Saw is that I had not seen this movie until this year. Believe it or not. And the reason is because for years and years and years, ever since Saw came out, I had always heard, oh, Saw, it's just like all a bunch of torture and that kind of stuff. And it is. There's a lot of torture in the movie. But, I mean, I've always been more of a fan of... I love the old Universal horror movies. I love, Dracula, Frankenstein, all that kind of stuff. And I'm more of a fan of, what you don't see is more terrifying than what you do, because what your mind can imagine, your mind will create more horrifying things than,
Which Saw does. Yeah.
It does. So then I finally was like, you know what, all right, I'll see the movie. So then I watched the movie. I liked it a lot. And it was total bullshit of what I thought. Yes, there's
torture porn.
Yeah, torture porn. I thought the whole thing was just going to be this horrifying thing of people getting tortured, but there's actually a really interesting story. It's more like a murder mystery type of movie. And you know what I have to say about it? I didn't know that fucking Cary Elwes was in the movie, and I love him. He was in The Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies back from the 80s. Had I known that he was like the star of the movie, I would have watched it a long time ago, because I love him. He's a great actor.
Oh.
So...
Yeah, it's really more of a mystery thriller than it is a gore movie. Even though, the gory things happen in the story, but they're not really shown in detail. It really was more about the story, and but it did kind of come at the beginning of the torture porn craze, like when like Hostel and all that stuff came later.
Okay,
like that's kind of like it. It's sort of, I think it may have been one of the first movies where that term started. Like, I don't know. I never understood the term. I don't get the porn part of it. I understand torture, but...
Because the audience, people are getting off on the idea of torture. It's not that it's pornography.
Oh.
It's like, oh my God, I love to watch people get tortured so much. It's like watching porn. That's what that means.
Interesting.
And I like gory movies too. Like, I kind of, like we were talking about, like Poltergeist. There's a ton of gore in that movie, like gory special effects, and like that's that's not torture, that's just gore. But the kind of people that like to watch somebody getting tortured in a movie, it's like pornography. It's torture pornography.
I don't know if anybody would like seeing somebody get tortured. I think just you want us to see a movie that gets.
I probably didn't explain it.
I know, but that's fine.
You understand?
There probably are people who get off on everything that could exist. So I don't know, but
and I don't mean literally like getting off.
They're getting off on.
like.
But I know. But anyway, So basically, it's two men in a room most of the movie. They wake up chained to pipes. And each one's given an audio cassette player which has a message from their captor. And one guy's a doctor, and he's told to kill the other guy or else his family's going to die.
You know what it's like? It's like something one of the Batman villains would do to Batman. He's like trapped in one of his situations, and it's like then there's a message from the Riddler, or something like that. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, if you want to talk about what it's like, actually, like the villain Jigsaw and the things that he does. I mean, he's basically a slasher villain who doesn't kill people. Like he makes them kill each other or whatever happens. But there are a lot of predecessors to this that it kind of may have been inspired from. Is there's the Abominable Dr. Phibes, which I've talked about on Monster Madness before.
Right.
Basically, Phibes, played by Vincent Price, he kidnaps the son of one of these doctors who I think was responsible for, or the doctor who failed to save his wife or whatever, and from a car accident or whatever it was. So he has a container full of acid, which he's ready to pour down and kill on the guy. But the only way to turn off the trap is to find the key. And the key is implanted inside the guy's chest or whatever, near his heart or whatever it is. And so the doctor has 6 minutes to surgically remove this key before the acid falls. So that was something that Dr. Phibes did.
You feel like Saw is in some way a remake?
A little bit. I mean, it takes some ideas from that.
Yeah.
Karloff in The Man They Could Not Hang is kind of like that, where he sets up all these different traps for people. So yeah, it's not entirely original, but it kind of put it all together and made it into something. It made it into a franchise.
Right, absolutely.
Just an evil
How
mastermind.
many of these movies are there now? Like 8 or?
They made 7 years in a row. So
7.
One came out every Halloween for 7 years, which is the most consistent horror series ever. As far as that goes.
Wow.
I only watched up to 3. I thought 3 was so bad that I didn't move on after that.
I heard the same thing, that 3 is not that good, but I heard 4 and 6 are really good, and I want to watch more. I've only seen the first 2.
To be 100% honest, I actually like the second one the best.
Yeah,
I love that Tobin Bell as Jigsaw was in the second one more.
The second one's really entertaining. They get trapped in that house and everything. Yeah.
I just love that it's more about the villain. The second one, I think, goes more into his character and why he does the things that he does. And you see him, and there's more screen time. He has more acting to do in the second movie than the first. So he's a villain that he thinks he's giving other people what they deserve. Yeah. And also, he's pointing out their flaws. He's putting them through this puzzling game of torture. And he terrorizes them psychologically more, as well as just,
I mean, I kind of like the idea of the fact that part of what he's doing is that he's making people realize, how important it is to be alive and to appreciate life.
Yeah, because he's dying. He's dying of cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. He says, in the second one, he's like, I'm already in so much pain. There's nothing more you can do to me. So I think there's something great about dying villains. Like Darth Vader, one of the greatest villains of all time, is basically a wounded villain who is being kept alive by respirators and stuff. So it's there's something about that, something really deep rooted about some kind of major injury to a villain, and then that kind of motivates him to do what he does and become more evil than. But he doesn't see himself as evil. He sees himself as he's giving these people what they deserve. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It's done really well. That's why I like the second one more, because of the villain.
Yeah, it actually really motivates me. I want to watch the rest of the series.
Yeah, I would like to get past, because I got to 3 and it was nothing but just close-up brain surgery and graphic violence the whole time. I think it was just a complete gore movie, and I was like, okay, well.
And that's probably more along the lines of what I thought the first movie.
Yeah, was. It was just crap. I thought it was there was nothing more to it. It was just to gross you out the whole time. Mm-hmm. One little trivia thing about Saw, the first one, was that how there's lots of cutaways, how every time they're always kind of talking about things that have happened before, and they're always kind of going out of order. Yeah, the reason why a lot of that happened was because they had only 18 days. I think it was a $1.2 million budget, which wasn't a lot for a big Hollywood movie like that.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, they had to get the movie shot as quickly as possible, and they didn't get all the coverage they needed of the 2 guys in the room. So they didn't have every angle that they needed of it. So basically, to cut the movie together so that they could keep the continuity was they had to keep cutting away to other things. So that's why the movie kind of became so all over the place. But then that became kind of a style. So the way it came about more like an economic reason, not like an artistic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting. I had no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of surveillance footage. A lot of times it would cut to just the camera.
Yeah, that's they do that kind of stuff a lot. Yeah.
Great movie. Saw. I do like the second one more. I should watch them all again at some point. Watch all 7.
Yeah, I definitely am planning to watch the whole series. But as far as just the first movie, it's definitely worth seeing. It's not what you'd think. I guess Hostel. Have you seen Hostel?
I haven't yet, tell you the truth.
Okay, well, I don't want to talk about a movie if I haven't seen it, but yeah, it's not what you'd think. It's more of a mystery, murder mystery type of thing. There was a lot of like police drama involved in these movies, and there's a lot of cops and detectives.
Oh, Danny Glover. We got to mention Danny Glover. Every single scene, I always think he's gonna say, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
I'm getting too old for this shit.
There were just so many parts in it where like something's going on and you just see it in his face and you're like, he's gonna say it. Oh fuck, it's not a Lethal Weapon movie. Shit.